Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Let's take our seats. Mr. Mwase.
Good evening, colleagues. Welcome to the first of two debates for our candidates for the Judicial Service Commission nominations. As you're aware, there should be two positions that will be voted upon on the 18th, Saturday the 18th of this month in Entebbe. We would like, first of all, to thank all the candidates that have made it here. But before we do that, I'm going to invite a representative of council, our own treasurer, to address us quickly, and then we will welcome the moderator. Arthur, over to you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Yes, my name is Isiko Arthur, the treasurer. I take this singular honor to welcome you all to Uganda Law Society. On behalf of the Radical New Bar, it's our distinct honor to welcome you all on this important engagement, the Voice of the Bar Open Debates for the Judicial Service Commission nominees. As you all know, the Judicial Service Commission plays a pivotal role in shaping the administration of justice in our country. It is therefore fitting that as members of the legal fraternity, we take in interest in those who seek to represent us on this critical body. Today's debate is not merely a contest of personalities. It is an opportunity for us as members of this national bar to listen to our candidates, to interrogate whatever they have to say, and also reflect on the visions and values that each candidate brings to the table. We believe that it is through such open and transparent engagements that we deepen democracy within our own institution and ensure that the voice of the profession remains vibrant, accountable, and forward-looking. So I commend all the candidates. As the Radical New Bar, we thank you for offering your souls for service. We do believe that leadership is a service, and whoever offers himself deserves gratitude from the members. So we thank you, the members out there who are supporting each and every candidate to ensure that they bring out the best of what they have to offer. So I will take this opportunity now to invite or encourage our members to join in. We believe this is an online, physically there are members present here, but also online. I encourage all members to listen in and engage constructively. And we believe that together we can shape the representation of this Judicial Service Commission. I thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Isiko. We don't want to keep our online audience waiting any longer, including the ones in the room. But Clearly, we will be monitoring and ensuring that the numbers rack up. We have a presence on X, YouTube, and we hope that there will be sufficient engagement as we go along. But permit me to quickly recognize members of the Elections Committee present here, starting with Ms. Brownie Ebal, our Secretary. Brownie, if you're here, we'd like to acknowledge you. We'd also like to recognize Mr. Collins Cheyune, also a member of the committee. We would like to appreciate in a special way the Secretariat that has been very supportive in ensuring that we put this together so that this debate is realized. Simon, I think I forgot to do what you asked me not to do. So, without further ado, I would like to, maybe before I introduce our moderator, just observe that we started with 15 candidates. We've had about 4 indicate their withdrawal. As we stand today, the candidates are 11. Today we have 10 present with us, and 1 has sent apologies, and I think we'll get to hear the details. But let me not get into someone else's work, and that's the moderator who is going to help us with the coming session, which everyone is waiting for. So, our moderator is an accomplished public affairs, strategic partnerships, marketing, and corporate communication leader with 24 years of experience driving impact, fostering collaboration, and enhancing organizational visibility. The gentleman that will be handling this session is an award-winning journalist, CNN Africa Journalist of the Year 2004. He's a seasoned executive with expertise in strategic communication, brand development, sustainability, and stakeholder engagement. He has a long CV, but this is really the super abridged one. And I think most of you have seen or heard him with the different fora that he has handled, but particularly the Capital Gang, which many of us listen to. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Mr. Simon Kasiate. So, we are going to take leave, Simon, so that you can face these people. I don't know who is facing who, but the platform is now yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mwase, for those very kind introductory remarks. Good evening from wherever it is that you are finding us and catching this conversation. We start with an interesting inaugural debate between candidates for the representation of the Uganda Law Society to the Uganda Judicial Service Commission. What a momentous day to have this incredible conversation, and I'll tell you shortly why. Today is exactly 30 years since Uganda's constitution was promulgated. And yes, let's make a decision on whether we clap or not. We are all aware that this foundational document has been the bedrock of our democracy, enshrining the rule of law, human rights, and the separation of powers. As we mark this anniversary, we also have, by way of interesting coincidence, this convention of incredibly brilliant legal brains ready to start it out and share their visions, their plans, and why each of them believes they are the best to represent the Uganda Law Society to the Uganda Judicial Service Commission. The candidates before us, ladies and gentlemen, aspire to serve the legal fraternity and the nation, and we look forward to their thoughtful contributions. Now let us engage in a constructive and respectful discussion, guided by the principles of no less our supreme law of the land, which is 30 years old today, as we seek to understand your visions, your qualifications, and why you believe you're the best to represent the Uganda Law Society to this esteemed role. For purposes of context, those of us who are catching us from whichever platform, is it YouTube, LinkedIn, or even X, The Uganda Law Society is permitted by law, if my constitutional knowledge is anything to go by, I think Article 146, where it talks about the composition of the Judicial Service Commission. And there will be 2 advocates of no less than 15 years standing, presented as nominees to the appointing authority to represent the Uganda Law Society to the Uganda Judicial Service Commission. Now, by way of procedure, we have 11 candidates. Only one has sent in their apologies of not being physically present, and neither will they join us online to debate, but they can listen in, and I'm sure they are. When all is said and done, a vote will be cast, and 2 of these 11 before us will now be sent to the appointing authority, who is His Excellency the President, as nominees of the Uganda Law Society. The President will in turn send the 2 names to Parliament for vetting and approval or otherwise. So I thought it would be important for us to know why this is an important engagement we are in. And let's not forget, previously, representatives of the Uganda Law Society were simply picked by the Law Society leadership and sent to the appointing authority. The new leadership thought it wise that these 2 positions, be contested for. And that's why we are here in a contestation of ideas, and we hope that this shall be done within the ambit of basic decorum and, of course, the dignity that we all attribute to the legal profession, which is law. I have been introduced, but allow me introduce myself the way I know best how. My name is Kasiate, Simon Kasiate. Welcome. And here are the rules. Each of you 10 candidates shall be given an initial 5 minutes to make what I have termed your elevator pitch, where you believe you're the best to represent the Uganda Law Society at the Judicial Service Commission. You will take turns and you'll go in the following order. We've chosen that we'll go by alphabetical order. This is when you now make a look at your name and thank your parents or otherwise. For if your name starts with Z, no doubt you will come last. And if your name is Alex, as I have seen on my list, you will come first, even though you were the last to arrive at the panel. After the first 5 minutes of your presentation, that will take us to close to an hour. From there, folks that are listening to us from wherever they are will have sent in their questions, comments, or other opinion that I may wish to share with you, and that shall be done by random sampling. But otherwise, I have a set of questions that I've also put together for each one of you, and we hope that this debate should be able to wrap up in 2 hours. And now we begin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome the first candidate on the dais, Mr. Alex Resida. And the clock starts now.
Thank you so much. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, everyone listening to us here present and online. In the 5 minutes given, I must say I'm very, very grateful for the organizers of this debate. It gives us a chance to get together, share our views, and present our thoughts and processes to enable the electorate see us, assess us, and make the best decision they can. Each of us has manifestos. I've seen manifestos of everyone here. I will not go into the detailed manifesto, which I have tried to share as much as I can and still available. To optimize on time, I will instead start with pillars that informed my manifesto. And picking from you, Simon, yes, today we clap for 30 years of the 1995 Constitution. For purposes of Judicial Service Commission, for special reasons. The 1995 Constitution gave us Articles 147, 148, 146 of the Constitution that firm the bedrock of Judicial Service Commission, setting it up, its mandate, the appointment of other officers, And everything that stems from there is then translated into why we think Judicial Service Commission is so important. So we celebrate the 30 years that made that change, because previously that wasn't a composition, that wasn't the mandate, that wasn't the safeguard that the Judicial Service Commission had. Now, the pillars on which my manifesto is rooted are in those articles, but I put them in 4 segments. One is the advisory role that Judicial Service Commission plays in appointment of the justices, the judges of the courts of judicature, appointment of the chief registrar and registrars of the courts. That advisory role simply sounds as advisory, but it's more fundamental than that. As we know, this debate is coming at a time when the position of the Chief Justice has been advertised. That's the Judicial Service Commission function. From that advertisement, it shows you the processes that the Judicial Service Commission must handle in the appointment process of the Chief Justice of this country. That's how important Judicial Service Commission is. And so the advisory role, much as it sounds like advisory, starts with the selection process, with the interviews, and then recommendations for appointment, recommendations made to the president. That process matters a lot. I have previously shared, and I mentioned briefly, a personal experience through a fault of Judicial Service Commission in that process. And this is the appointment of Chodre as a judge in Uganda. Chodre was a barrister in the UK. He was struck off the roll of barristers for defrauding a client. A few years later, he found his way to the bench in Uganda and became a judge. His first ruling raised an uproar within Law Society, and Law Society was able to establish what happened to him in the UK. They informed the Judicial Service Commission, which then did its own verification of the fact that Chodre had been disbarred in the UK. Chodre was then asked about it. He brushed it aside. Judicial Service Commission got certified copies of the documents from UK and recommended the appointment of a tribunal. Now, that appointment of a tribunal did not happen. The president just kept quiet. Even with the reminders instigated by Law Society through the Attorney General, it did not happen. What followed is a notice by Law Society to the president of Uganda. And it's a very interesting notice.
20 seconds to go.
That led to an action that made Chodre go away from the bench in terms of placement.
Thank you very much, candidate Alex Resida. I'm afraid we've come to the end of our 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
And as is the basic way of doing things, let's clap for him. Your title may start with a letter further down in the alphabet, but we'll go with your first name nonetheless. Christopher Mbazira, Professor.
Thank you so much, Simon. Thank you so much to the organizers of this. I'll go straight to service of judicial officers. Implement programs of education and public awareness on matters of law. Receive and process recommendations and complaints. And then lastly, advise on the administration of justice. As you can see, these roles, they require a mix of expertise. They require a mix of experience. In other words, these roles require somebody who is a hybrid. I consider myself to be a hybrid jurist that has experience in different areas of the law. I have experience in legal practice, commercial legal practice. I have experience as a legal academic, I have experience as a public administrator. I have experience as a public interest lawyer. I believe that the things that I've done, I may not detail all of them here, have for the past over 20 years prepared me for this role. And I think this is the time, and it's one of the reasons I chose to step up and offer myself to serve in the role. What do I then intend to do? Having looked at the terms of reference, having looked at my qualifications in brief, academically I'm well-grounded. In terms of practice, I'm well-grounded. In terms of public administration, I'm well-grounded. I'm also connected to all facets of the legal profession. What then do I intend to get? The targets are measurable as well. My targets are categorized under 3 categories. I have short-term targets that I intend to pursue. I have a medium-term targets. I have long-term targets. And since the start of this campaign last year, I've been detailing those targets. Of course, they have evolved, informed by the feedback that I've obtained, especially when I did my border countrywide tour. I learned quite a lot that helped me to improve the things that I aspire to do. Short-term target number 1, promote transparency and fairness in the recruitment process. What is unique with respect to my manifesto is I intend to advocate for a manual that defines or elaborates the processes, and it's a public document. Target number 2, short-term, is promote interface between the Judicial Service Commission, the bar, and the public. I feel that we need an annual forum, actually 2 fora, one that brings the commission together with the bar, and then the second that brings the commission with the public. Target number 3, urge mutual respect between the bar and the bench, because sometimes we see acrimony between the bar and the bench, and it's getting worse. Medium-term target number 1 is advocate for a best practices process where we concretely learn from what is happening in other jurisdictions, and I will show why that is important shortly.
20 seconds.
Thank you. Number 2, mandatory training and mentoring for judicial officers, maintaining professional standards, and then lastly, in the long term, advocate for legal and constitutional reforms. And that's where the best practices study then becomes relevant. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you for stopping on exactly 5 minutes. Thank you, candidate Professor Christopher Mbazira. And still going with our selected order of alphabetical dominance, let's now turn over to Mr. Ellison Karuhanga, who is only lucky that Edison Ruyondo is not present. Ellison, the clock starts now.
Thank you, Simon. Allow me to take the opportunity to thank everybody who is here, to thank the Governing Council, the Radical New Bar Governing Council of the Uganda Law Society for enabling this debate to this election to happen, and for really ensuring that we have this vote. Colleagues, on the 3rd of December last year, we were nominated to contest for the position of Uganda Law Society representative to the Judicial Service Commission. Our election was stopped around the 13th of December. Throughout that time, from then until now, we have not stopped campaigning, working, and looking for your support. If you're looking for resilience, there is absolutely no question where you can find it. We have toured this country when people told us to stop campaigning. As we speak right now, some of us have costs slapped on us defending the right of this law society to vote. Colleagues, if you're looking for resilience, this is exactly where it is. Colleagues, since the second week of February, and for the 38 weeks since February, we have held conversations with many of you on X and on all platforms every Wednesday, discussing the fate of our judiciary and turning ourselves into a parliament of the bar that debates, that discusses, and that analyzes. Colleagues, if you're looking for resilience, this is where it is. Colleagues, apart from that, we in these conversations now seek to turn those conversations into policy. We seek to make innovation an instrument. We seek to make transparency a shield, and we seek to make merit a compass. In these discussions, we have proposed the appointment of mission-based judges. Article 142(2) of the Constitution provides that where the business of the court so requires, the profession can be called upon to act as judges. Colleagues, as we speak right now, there are 46,000 cases termed backlog in the judiciary. Last year, there were 42,000. We have had more money pumped into our courts, more judges appointed. Right now, we have many judges who are stressed by the backlog. I traveled this country and found judges sitting in 1,000 case dockets. We have a health crisis in our judiciary. We hosted Justice Bamwine, and he told us that his hand literally stopped writing. Colleagues, while the judiciary is overwhelmed, the public is underserved, the Constitution 30 years ago gave this bar property. It said that where these courts are overwhelmed, the bar can be called upon to handle the challenge of backlog. Colleagues, backlog is the tyranny of our time. Justice, sometimes like medicine, requires emergency intervention. Mission-based judges are an emergency intervention. The challenge before us as we go into the election, this is not an election about privilege, this is an election about purpose. This is not an election about opportunities for candidates, this is an election about opportunities for the bar. Allow me, colleagues, to tell you that this fight, we have been having it since December. We never stopped once. You can bet on the fact that we'll never stop ever. We have been tried, we have been tested. Colleagues, we are talking about innovation. We are talking about changing the way we have justice delivered in this country. The courtrooms must not be buildings, they must be a service. Colleagues, allow me now to end by saying one other thing that is holding us back is the state of bar-bench relations in this country. It would be remiss of me not to point out the fact that the only Ugandan today who stands convicted without being tried is unfortunately the president of the Law Society. We cannot sustain a situation where we're having convictions without trials. We need to improve our bar-bench relations. We need to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And it is my submission that the candidate best suited to represent you is none other than the lawyer's lawyer. So, as you go,
10 seconds.
As you go into the voting booth, into the basin, there's one question you must ask yourself. Olimujawa Musaja Singa.
That's candidate Elson Karuhanga. Indeed, rabble-rousing in the room. And following closely is candidate Frank Kanduho. The clock starts now, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kasiate and colleagues in the room. Permit me to recognize the senior most of us here, Mr. Alex Resida. It is a norm, it is a culture of practice at the bar that you recognize your superior. I recognize you, Mr. Alex Resida, and I thank you for turning up. Mr. Kasiate, also allow me to ask members of the profession to move a vote of thanks to the one and only Mr. James Mukasa Sevugenyi, senior counsel, our past president, 7 or thereabout years ago, who mooted the idea that Uganda Law Society had become of age, it needed a worthy home. He mooted the idea to us. He sold it to the membership bought it, and we are in a home that we are proud of, although it is not complete. I salute him. I salute my Lord, our past president, Mr. Simon Peter Chinove, for the courage to demolish the old structure so that he can give us a fresh start. So I thought that if those two individuals went and sang, I would be giving them a disservice. Turning to why I offered myself, I am not in the mood and mode of sloganeering. I am an action person. I don't throw tantrums. I don't throw blame games. I am not a cheerleader. I am not a songwriter. I have my feet on the ground. Namely, in the year 2011, there was a monster in judicial robes and would worship it by the name My Lord. I took on that monster personally before Judicial Service Commission. Judicial Service Commission, in its sickness and frailty, failed to prosecute the monster. I did my part, the country recognizes it. For fear of defamation, I am a lawyer of 21 years standing. His name is a monster, I stop there. Number two, Mr. Moderator, I have had the opportunity to practice in the far west, in the far east, in the far north, and in the center. And I have come to the realization that there are four consumers of the services of Judicial Service Commission. The first primary consumer of the services of Judicial Service Commission is the citizen of the Republic of Uganda. The second consumer of the services of Judicial Service Commission is a judicial officer. The third consumer of the services of Judicial Service Commission is the bar. And the fourth are the court staff. It is a role of a representative of Uganda Law Society to carry with them two lenses. The first lens is that of a lawyer. The second and primary lens is that of a citizen. You cannot perform at Judicial Service Commission unless the overwhelming lens in your eyes is that of a citizen. Judges fall sick, citizens fall sick. Judges die, citizens die. Judges are taken to court, citizens are taken to court. Judges need justice, citizens need justice. You need that sober and able-bodied representative who speaks truth to power, who promotes reconciliation, who speaks when it is necessary, who listens when it is necessary, so that when they make their foot on the ground and they put it on the ground, both the citizen and the bench, in juxtaposition to the bar, benefit from representation of Uganda Law Society on Judicial Service Commission. And that's exactly both my call of duty and my duty of care once given mandate by the membership of Uganda Law Society. I thank you.
Thank you, candidate Frank Anduho, for in fact sparing us some 30 seconds of your precious time. We may donate it to the next person coming after you.
I'm donating it, Fiona.
Ah, tremendous. But gladly, candidate Mariam Mbabali, you are next.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, the members in attendance, the ULS Secretariat, the ULS Electorate, and those online. Thank you. Mariam, for the last 18 years, she has built her own law firm, mentored couples of lawyers who have all looked forward to a very beautiful experience at the bar. For the last 18 years, I have watched clients cry in total despair while their cases spend years and years in court. I understand the hustle. I understand private practice. I understand that plight of my colleagues. I have watched very, very well educated, very ethical, but yet don't make it to the bench. They have received no feedback as to why they don't qualify. And yet, you sit humbly at the bar, watching spouses of your fellow judges, the husbands and wives serving at the bench, their children, their daughters, and you wonder, what's the criteria? We don't need a bench that lacks criteria, lacks accountability, lacks transparency in how people make it. I am here as a lawyer seeking to see that young lawyer make their dream to the bench. I am here to see that the right people sit in these offices. No one holds the monopoly to represent you lawyers at the ULS. The ULS representative at the Judicial Service Commission is there so that that representative brings on board the lived experiences. Who other than Mariam Babali to represent you? I hold a 360 view, qualified. I'm not theorizing in what solutions I'll bring at the JSC. I am a Harvard-trained computer science lawyer. I understand the gaps in technology, and when I sit at the commission, I'll bring that lived experience. I am an advocate, a practicing mental health trauma advocate, and I see the members at the bench struggling with mental health. And yet we sit here at our pedestal and judge these people who lack support on their mental health. It's quite daunting to sit at the bench and lack that kind of support. Take Mariam to the JSC, and I advocate for policies that see that the bench is well catered for. Their wellness is as good as ours. My first agenda is to hold accountability. ULS should not be sidelined in these issues. ULS needs to stay at the cornerstone of the criteria of appointment. I will ensure that we have peer paper support to ensure that it doesn't stop here. You don't send people at the JSC and don't know what's happening. We need to see what's the criteria of appointment? Why aren't we having transparent appointments? What's wrong with us interviewing and knowing why didn't so-and-so make it to the bench? How about these people get feedback as to why they didn't make it? Why do members that qualify take 3 attempts only to end up still no feedback and they don't qualify? Members, I'm here to tell you, a position like this one requires a lady like me, a lady with capability, very well exposed, very well positioned, and has a high level of discernment to participate with all that 7 members. Push Mariam to the Judicial Service Commission, and I guarantee you stand a chance to serve your dream. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariam. Indeed, you too have saved another 30 seconds. You may wish to donate it as well. For those who have just joined us, this is the candidates debate for 2 members who will be elected to represent the Uganda Law Society at the Judicial Service Commission. Mariam is the first of 4 ladies in a race of 11, and we are continuing the debate. But for purposes of context, for the non-lawyers that have just joined this conversation, or those who are sitting through and listening to the name Judicial Service Commission being dropped over, allow me to tell you that the Judicial Service Commission is an independent agency of government established under the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. It is a specialized appointing commission enjoying broad oversight functions in relation to services delivered to the people by the judiciary. The mandate and functions of the commission are defined under Articles 146 to 151 of the Constitution. Legalese aside, allow me invite the next candidate to make their elevator pitch. Milton Ochen.
Thank you very much, Simon, and thank you, the Elections Committee, for organizing this. Simon, 5 minutes, a very short time, but I'll do my best, as my previous colleagues have tried. Simon and members, we are at a very critical juncture in our profession. The theme today is Voice of the Bar. Thank you. The theme today is Voice of the Bar. Those who know me and those who have followed me in this campaign trail will agree that I am a voice of reason. And I mean that. Members, the representation on the Judicial Service Commission is for accountability. Simon has summarized the functions of the Judicial Service Commission as outlined in the Constitution. It is one for holding others accountable. I am one of those amongst the candidates here who has been at the front line of this change that is happening at Uganda Law Society. I supported my president publicly and openly. Simon, regardless of what has happened, a lot has happened in the last 1 year, and I have not shied away from calling a spade a spade. We have somehow lost our way as a membership of Uganda Law Society. We have a governance and leadership crisis. This might cost me my candidacy, but if it means that, there is no problem. We have to hold our leaders accountable. Right now, as we speak, we are not even sure whether this election is going to take place or not because of governance issues within council. Okay? A lot has gone on leading to where we have reached. Simon, I advocate for accountability. I have spoken out. I've called out our council members. I've reached out sometimes to each one of them and offered guidance. All this is to demonstrate the aspects of accountability. And none of the candidates on this table have come out openly to hold our leaders accountable. It's not hard to guess, because you do so, you risk losing your election going to Judicial Service Commission. So it is very important that we elect people who are willing to hold others accountable, because this is what this job is about. I issued a statement which is elaborate. Whoever is interested to go and look at it will look at it. Secondly, Simon, I am not a rookie. I bring on board experience. I have served government as a representative of Uganda Law Society on the National Building Review Board. I don't wish to exploit the inexperience of my colleagues to advance my campaign. But it's very important that we elect somebody who understands how government processes work. Last year, again, we came up with all slogans of banging the table. Some were saying, we're going to wait how far you're going to bang tables. It was meant to call for attention. The moment we took leadership or leadership changed, we had to now wear the hats of leaders and do what is right and move this society forward. Okay? So it is very important that we look back. A lot of promises are going to be made, but are they all realizable? Are they all achievable? It is important that we elect someone who has experience. Government processes are different. You must have the skills, and I have the skills. You must engage constructively to pass any government resolution. When you join government, most may not know, you are going to sign an oath of service, judicial oath, and sometimes an oath of secrecy. We have, for instance, Section 16 of the Judicial Service Act, which means that everything you do stays within the commission. So how are we going to go about this? It requires negotiation skills, persuasion, influencing others, and being able to build bridges, okay, so that we can get results done. Last but not least, Simon, I've mentioned leadership qualities, but also I am someone with integrity. My service to law society, the record of service is very clear. It is impeccable. So should we overcome this hurdle that we have? There are legal challenges. We are legally exposed in this process, but we agreed as members or as candidates that should court intervene, then we shall stop this election. But should we go through, these are the things I want people to elect me for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, candidate Milton Ochen. As a housekeeping rule, dear live audience, we are obviously allowed to clap and cheer on our candidate of choice, but basic decorum does not give us the right to boo anyone, just in case you're thinking about it. But also, let's try to keep a minimum in terms of silence so that our candidates are able to articulate their issues with minimum, if at all, any disruption. Thank you. Now you will allow me invite the second of the four ladies vying for this position. This is none other than Dr. Patricia Atim.
Okay, thank you very much, moderator, and good evening, our listeners, both in the physical space here and online. I greet you all in your respective capacities, and allow me stand on any protocols earlier established by the EC chair and thank Council, the EC, and the moderator for organizing this function. As a lecturer, for over 15 years, I kind of stick to instructions. Our instructions were to speak about why we want to represent the Uganda Law Society to the judiciary. I think my passion begins from the presidential debate that I moderated when President Semakade and President Semakade, then candidate, and Council Kenneth came to debate at the School of Law, Makerere University. During that debate, President Semakade said many things, and among which was that female lawyers are stiletto lawyers. We only wear lipsticks and our stilettos, and we don't come to, in the struggle, we don't join the men in the trenches, put on our boots in the trenches. I've put on my boots. I think that statement stayed with me. It provoked me to action, and that is why I am here to get a chance to represent the School of Law. To represent the Uganda Law Society at the Judicial Service Commission. Yes. Now, I wear many hats, so forgive me. The Uganda Law Society, I'll anchor my interest in this position in Section 3 of the Uganda Law Society Act, which spells out the objectives of the Uganda Law Society. And I implore each and every one of you to go back and address your minds to Section 3 of the Act. But the gist of it is members of the Uganda Law Society are to support building the rule of law and governance system in this country and enhancing professionalism in the legal profession. I stand by that. It's my bid. I have been in the classroom at the Ivory Tower, in the communities, training and mentoring young lawyers whom we have released in thousands to the public. I feel it's time to get out of the Ivory Tower, out of the classrooms, and come and implement the things we teach, make a contribution to the society by representing the Uganda Law Society to the Judicial Service Commission. I am interested in this because I think I come with the need for gender inclusion in law society matters. We already have a law council that is male-dominated, and I congratulate my colleagues who are here for taking on the mantle, and I pray that we stay, we do not relent until the very last moment when the electorate cast their ballot. Celebrating the Constitution, I must say, I think this is also my way to celebrate the 30 years of our Constitution by presenting myself to the candidature as a representative to Uganda Law Society at the Judicial Service Commission. My mission is to consolidate the gains that we have made as a country in the judiciary. I took a moment to look at the statement by the Chief Justice, which I would implore each and every one of you to read. The Chief Justice released the statement, a summary of the judiciary's annual report of 2024-2025. I also took a moment to at least address my mind to the issues that were raised by our predecessors in the Judicial Service Commission, in the Judicial Service Commission Annual Report 2024-2025. And they pitched to consolidate, and they pitched to promote a people-centered justice system. I am here, ladies and gentlemen of the Uganda Law Society, to consolidate the gains that we've made as a country and with integrity.
So juxtaposing those two milestones and you being here, putting across what you tend to do for the Uganda Law Society at the Judicial Service Commission, and by extension benefiting an entire country, I think the timing couldn't have been better. And so, having reminded ourselves of that momentous coincidence of time under which we debate, allow me to invite candidate Paul Muchivi.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you, everybody here. I'm a chain breaker. That's the starting point. And that speaks to my reason for vying for this position. Some of us have been on ground from day one. We are not jumping. Hands-on. We have been in the hustle of practice from day one to date. We know the problems lawyers are facing. I have 5 years experience in law reporting. I've been digesting cases and giving feedback to the bar and the bench. And I must tell you, one of the issues I'm addressing is poor judicial appointments. That is a chain we need to deal with. There are very many competent members of the bar that are supposed to be on the bench. And there are very many incompetent members of the bench sitting on the bench. What criteria do we use? Are we getting the best? Why are we not getting the best? That is something we need to address. Merit-based appointments is a problem. We are tired of having a bench composed of husband, wife, concubines, children, relatives. Are we trying to convince that certain families are brighter and they should only dominate the bench? These are issues of concern we need to deal with, and these are bigger chains we need to break. Seriously. Transparency in appointments is key. If I apply, you don't even shortlist me, you don't even tell me why I failed to meet the shortlist. Others have met the shortlist, they also don't know how they met. So what kind of confusion is this? Then you sit interviews, you don't know what you've scored. You only get to know you are appointed, another is not what? Appointed. What is the criterion? We need to deal with this darkness in appointments and create a transparent process. That is a chain we intend to break. Public participation in appointments. We are here giving our agenda, our manifesto as candidates intended to represent the bar on the GSC. Why should judges, when they are being interviewed, do their interviews in closed meetings? Closed doors. Why? Come and tell us, we listen to you, as the public is listening to me, and we see whether you are competent or not. Why should we just get a communication that so and so qualified, looking at the list, those who qualified, you feel like crying? How they qualified, you can't? You can't tell. Now they start rendering decisions. Some decisions are not even worth being on the law book. So there is a serious problem. We need public participation. This is a public what? Office. The other concern I intend to address so much is also merit on promotions. We are having a situation in Uganda where the hard-working judges are sidelined and left at one level until they retire. Mediocres who make decisions which are even not worth reporting are ever being promoted. What is this criterion? What is the performance indicators these people based on to promote? We have judges in high court whose decisions are of such what? What explanation do you give us that they are still in high court? And the Supreme Court respects their what? Decisions. Something is very wrong. Then the other concern is judicial residence. We have a lot of challenges. How do we explain Judge X in a year has rendered and disposed 100 cases and Judge Y 10 cases? And there is nothing to do about that. One has rendered 10, another 100 what? Cases. What does that mean? We are also tired of hearing only judicial officers being interdicted a grade 2 magistrates. Is it that grade 2 magistrates are the one who are incompetent and also engaged in judicial misconduct? We need to bench back from other practices and break chains. I must tell you, this is a job not for mediocre.
20 seconds.
This is a job for people who have been tested, tried, and you know what it takes. Thank you.
Candidate Paul Muchiri. Now, distinguished candidates, I have my friends and followers who are not necessarily lawyers, and at this hour, many of them are seated on the bench in a bar. And they are hearing all this conversation, and they are saying, Simon, what's wrong with those lawyers and their unkind words for us seated on the bench in the bar? My dear friends who are not lawyers, wherever you are, relax and enjoy yourself on that bench in the bar. Later on, the candidates will substantiate which bench and in which bar they are talking about. That said, allow me, with a lot of humility, invite, and I say this because I think from the array of those presented before me, she's the only one that has the prefix senior counsel. Allow me invite Fiona Nabasa Wall. The clock clicks now.
And remember, I gave her my 30 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, our fantastic moderator, our council, our esteemed members here, I am finally on the ballot. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. As Fiona Nabasa Wall, I stand here to ask for your vote as Uganda Law Society representative to the Judicial Service Commission. Why me? I represent all of you. I have been a young lawyer. I have lectured law. I've been in academia with my brothers and sisters. I have worked in civil society with human rights defenders. I have worked in private practice. Now I'm really struggling with a backlog myself. I have worked in government practice, and I've had the misfortune of also being the other side of litigation. One of our colleagues, it's an unfortunate thing when you have to speak last, but one of our colleagues spoke about the lens within which we should look at our work for Judicial Service Commission. Having been in all the aspects of the law society, one of the things that really annoys me and keeps me awake at night is the lack of inclusion in the recruitment of judges. Then, much as the bench is the bar is the source of the bench, we've had judges sometimes coming only from the judiciary, or sometimes you have a recruitment from just one section of the bar. And I'm very glad that all the people here represent different sections of the bar. I stand for inclusion. As a lawyer, I made sure that each and every one of you, we had over 400 people from different aspects of the bar representing you in the leadership of the Uganda Law Society. While I was president, I ensured that the Uganda Law Society got back its senior lawyers who had departed from the service in the Uganda Law Society, and over 150 lawyers, senior, young, from all arms of the profession, contributed to the building of this Uganda Law Society house. The four things that I would like to bring to the table as your representative are fidelity to the Constitution, to the constitutional mandate. We need a JSC that understands its mandate, but we need a judiciary that is held accountable to fulfill its mandate. We need to protect judicial independence. We need to promote transparency, not only of recruitment, but also in how we punish and discipline judicial officers, how we protect them and how we promote them. Inclusion, I've already spoken about that. Accountability. We used to have something that we were doing in the Uganda Law Society called the Latest in the Law series. We need to bring back peer reviews of judgment so that judges and judicial officers are held accountable. The second is availability to Uganda Law Society and to the membership by the judiciary. We need an available judiciary that listens. We need a Judicial Service Commission that will take feedback. In all my years, I advocated for JSC to come and meet us with the bar and the bench in all the bar bench fora that we had, and they did not. That is why I am standing. We need a faithful Judicial Service Commission that understands its mandate to uphold justice, to inspire confidence, to serve as a beacon of hope to the least of us. This thing that we call backlog has been caused because nobody is concerned with the performance management of the judiciary. Why do I say that? They have judicial scorecards that have been created by the judiciary. We need the Judicial Service Commission to come up with a judicial scorecard that is contributed to by every aspect of Uganda's society. We need a Judicial Service Commission that will make sure that it is faithful to its mandate, available to the people, and teachable in its reputation. I'm ready to serve.
And now you are into the 30 seconds donated to you by Candidate Frank.
I'm ready to serve. I have been tested. I have resilience. I have served Uganda Law Society. It's time that I asked you to promote me, because when you're faithful in the little, you can be trusted with more. I'm asking that you trust me with transforming the judiciary. I will not do it alone. I have evidence that I have worked with everybody on this table. I can work with any of these candidates. I have only 2 weeks to campaign, given that what has been occurring. I'm asking that even if you've made up your mind on one candidate, let me be your second vote. You need me there, because if you don't vote well, okay, let me not
Time
go
up.
there. Vote well, vote war.
Well, quite interesting. Again, for the benefit of my non-legal friends, I promise that we'll tell you the difference between these two words as the candidates prepare themselves for what next. The bar refers to the collective body of lawyers or the legal profession. It encompasses all practicing attorneys, advocates, or counselors who represent clients in court and provide legal advice. The bench, on which you are not seated, refers to the judiciary, comprising judges and magistrates who preside over courts of law, interpret and apply the law, and render judgments. That said and put into context, I have now the pleasure to invite the last of the 11 candidates, who has an interesting paradox of names. Her first name is certainly the last in the alphabetical order, but had we used surnames, her name would have come first. Here we are, candidate Shamim Amolo.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All the members present, non-members, I'm honored to be here, and all protocol observed. Indeed, members, the last does not mean least. I am the genesis of what is happening today. I can assure you I am a living testimony. All these words are just being said. I acted when 2016, when Gimara appointed Ruth Sebatindira and Nora Matovo. I acted, I objected, it was illegal. I told them not to. I went to the media. Gimara shut down. I went to every place where members can come and help me. I was suppressed, but I managed to expose. Perhaps that's why the person who made the suit in court read my clips. So I am the genesis. All these members were there. They did not do anything. All the senior lawyers were there. They kept quiet. I am telling you, I have been with you through thick and thin. My friend Fiona Wall was there. She was a secretary at that time. She never pointed a finger. Instead, she was in damage control. She became a president. She extended the term illegally while knowing. She extended the toxic people in the control of Judicial Service Commission. I hear some are saying that I did ABC and they are not accepting us the Genesis. I am the Genesis. Paul is saying I am not. I don't know what he did that time. What did you do? You were there. Let me say, what did you do to the society? You have not even transformed the institution where you are. LDC failure rate is so high. Huh? The other time a student was called. The other time, please. Order. I need my time. I need my time. Compensate my time. The other time, a student was caught cheating. Actually, a judicial officer. What have they done in Lira campus? Cheating for the other one. What have they done? Is that the hard work they are doing? The books you have done those books because you are being paid. Here we are not talking about benefit. You are employed there, you get the money. Go to university. You cannot have masters or PhD. Don't you think Alex Resita want to get PhD? Because of how you have failed the system there, don't allow them to go to Judicial Service Commission. Don't. Members, I am here. Members, my brother Chen is here. He has been in the board forever and is quarreling instead of apologizing. It was illegal. You cannot start comparing with other people. The senior members are here. Alex is talking about how he chased the judge or what. It was for his own benefit. They were, let me tell you,
Order, please.
I need my time.
You will have it. Order, please. Order.
Justice Chaudhry, to my recollection, Justice Chaudhry awarded a youth security, I think, for courts to appeal if they want, and added Uganda Law Society on it. And it was their private case, and Uganda Law Society was to pay. You see, bringing for us problem. Uganda Law Society. So you cannot be proud of that. Members, I have been there for you. I will still be there for you. I will still be there for you. I am also looking at other reforms in the Judicial Service Commission. Appointment. You see how those of Ruth are
Let's
behaving
get closer to the microphone.
See how they're behaving. The appointment of both higher bench and the lower bench. The lower bench, aptitude test, how it is done. These people hide with the results for 1 full month, and yet this computerized work which is already marked. Why don't you give the results there and then? Why don't you put in the what? Why don't you give in the email? Lower bench, higher bench. That one we shall have a public hearing and we scrutinize those judges. Whoever is going to be the judge, we are going to take you to your primary school. We are going to investigate. We shall see whether you were a pencil thief in the primary. We are going to get all the data. We are going to put your academic qualification even on the notice board. Call on radio. Let you defend yourself. So that by the time you are coming, you are proven. You can now be a judge. Because these are the people, they send people to the galley. We cannot take it lightly. Then the issue of incompetence. My brother Mujibi is
You
saying
have a compensation of 2 minutes.
He's saying it's incompetence. These judges are not incompetent. We just need to retool them. We need to retool them. We need to skill them. Now, you see a situation whereby a judge from DPP is put to run civil. How? Someone who has been working in DPP for 20 years. So all those styles should be changed to meet the current changes. So it is my submission that all these people you are seeing, they behave like what? Watermelon. Outside green, inside red. You cannot trust them with the leadership. I am the only person who is firm. I am firm. I am firm. I don't expect favor. I cannot be interfered with. I will do your work when you send me there. And I'm here still to expose you the truth. Only that time is not there.
Order.
I need a time.
Order.
I to expose to you each and every. You send these people, I am telling you, you will have killed the society. Dead on arrival. So, members, I am there. Maybe. There is a senior council.
You are protected.
And then, okay, you can vote. Maybe you can vote this Ragaman after voting me.
Thank you.
No.
Time
Last. One. Now, members, these people, like Professor is saying, they had cost in court because of representing Uganda Law Society. It was me who pushed them when they failed to stand for Uganda Law Society. They ran and added their names there. They ran and added their names because they were not doing anything, and I've said it. So, Fiona, you execute the cost. Execute that cost you were given so that they know that you go to something when you mean it. So, members, I have already told you I am
Time
the
up.
only firm person.
Thank you very
Come
much.
on the 18th, look nowhere. Look nowhere.
Thank you, candidate Shami Mamolo. Thank you for... Now, candidates, we are now turning into the Q&A session. And this is how we shall go. First, we've listened to all your submissions. And perhaps except candidate Shamim, who attempted to a great extent to tell us more than just describe the situation at hand. It's easy to talk about an evil, but I think the devil is in the details of the how. You've all articulated what the problem is and why you need to be there, but none of you has taken us a little bit deeper into how you will solve what you identified as a problem. And now we shall go in the same order we began. And this time, you have exactly 2 minutes. And you have from where it is the same problem you mentioned, the issue of appointing non-qualifying folks onto the bench. That is the problem, according to candidate Alex Resida. But how will you, as Alex Resida, a member of the Judicial Service Commission, ensure that you are not going to be stampeded by the democracy of numbers and the other members with whom you serve?
Thank you very much. There are tools that are available to use, and one of them is transparency as a strong tool. I'll give you an illustration. If 260 candidates have passed an aptitude test, is there a bar from me giving feedback to the society to say 260 passed the aptitude test? What is the oath of secrecy in that respect? So that afterwards they don't become 275. Because once it's in public domain that 260 have passed, you can't make it 275. Transparency helps. You can't give transparency unless you have it.
Wow.
2, we talk about performance review. About everyone else, I will insist on performance review of the commissioners in the Judicial Service Commission itself, something that is not happening. 3, streamline everything that needs to be done, including complaints. Streamline how a complaint should be compiled so that 50%, because that's a failure rate now, 50% of the complaints don't make it beyond scrutiny level 1 because of lack of guidance. Involvement of the public. Judicial Service Commission is not doing enough to educate the public. In the whole country, Judicial Service Commission has 3 regional offices: Moroto, Masaka, and Mbarara. Each of them, except Moroto, has a legal officer and a legal clerk. Moroto has a legal clerk only. Judicial Service Commission is mandated and obligated by the Constitution to educate the public, to give feedback, to receive these complaints and handle them. How do they do that? Usual excuse is budget. Which budget? What budget do you need as a commission to go to Mukono and meet lawyers one afternoon? What budget restaurant is there? We need to see those things happening. The engagement, the collaborations, the bridges that we need to build. Thank you very much.
Thank you, candidate Alex Resida. If I were a voter, I'm beginning to get swayed, but sadly I am not. And why do I say so? You talk about communication and education. Let me also put it to you that the Judicial Service Commission may need on its membership, and we may need to look at this from the constitutional point of view, someone with the kind of proficiencies that I hold, who then can communicate and educate people. I think that can be best done by people like me and not people like you. That said, you will forgive me. I will now turn to candidate Christopher Mbazira. You come from the academia. Of course, theory is what you're best known for. You're getting into the Judicial Service Commission, and one would want to know very specifically how, from your experience, from your knowledge of how it works, how you're going to make the changes you've promised us you'll make.
Thank you so much, Simon. First of all, I want to correct you. I'm not a theorist. I describe myself as a hybrid. I'm a practitioner, I'm a scholar, I'm a public administrator. Those are skills that I bring to the commission. The commission requires a bit of balancing, in the sense that it requires one consensus building, and that's what the Constitution says, but that's not enough. In some respects, it requires to be pushed, and there is all the justification for that, because I'm going to represent a society that right now has thousands of members. The voices of those members have to be heard. And that's why one of my targets is to ensure that the commission establishes a forum through which it gives feedback to the bar. And the same forum would enable me to give feedback to the bar as a person representing the bar on the commission. That's very, very important, and I think that is something that is lacking. As much as there is a provision that appears to constrain members of the commission from disclosing what is discussed, there is an exception. When you read that provision, it says they can disclose as long as what they are disclosing relates to their mandate. That can be read into the provision. So if I go to the commission as a person representing a constituency, which is the bar, I have the mandate and the right to bring whatever is going on in the commission, to bring it back to the bar, and then to take back to the commission the views of the commission. That's very, very important. So that forum is one of the key targets that I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, candidate Professor Christopher Mbazira. I have been drawn to the attention of Article 146 of the Constitution, and I would love, for purposes of those who are non-lawyers or who may need reminder, to know the composition of the Judicial Service Commission. According to the Constitution, it must have a chairperson and a deputy chairperson. There must also be a person nominated to that commission from the Public Service Commission. Then, of course, there will be 2 advocates nominated by the Uganda Law Society, the reason as to why we are here, and the genesis for this conversation. Then, of course, there will be 1 judge of the Supreme Court, and then, much to my interest, there will be 2 members of the public who shall not be lawyers, nominated by the President. We are further informed by the same law that the Attorney General of the land shall be an ex-officio member of the Judicial Service Commission. I thought that would be important for purposes of those listening to us from wherever it is that you're catching this debate, to know the composition of the Judicial Service Commission. Candidate Elson Karuhanga. Your tagline was resilience this, resilience that, resilience this, resilience that. The devil is in the details of the how. How are you going to pull it off? Is it sloganeer, like someone once said, or even have a song for that matter? Oli mujawa omusajja asingagwe. Naye ono omusajja anakola ki? Sorry, I digress. But tell us a bit into the how you're going to deliver onto that promise you just made to us.
I think the promise which we spoke to was the promise in the Constitution. And maybe I should just read it. The Constitution provides in Article 142, Clause 2 of it, that where the office of a Justice of the Supreme Court or a Justice of Appeal or a Judge of the High Court is vacant, a Justice of the Supreme Court, a Justice of Appeal, or a Judge of the High Court is for any reason unable to perform the functions of his or her office, or the Chief Justice advises the Judicial Service Commission that the state of the business of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, or High Court so requires, the President may, acting on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission, appoint a person qualified for appointment as a Justice of the Supreme Court, or a Justice of Appeal, or a Judge of the High Court, to act in such manner as a Justice or Judge, even though the person has attained the age prescribed for retirement. A person appointed under Clause 2 of this article to act as a Justice of the Supreme Court, a Judge, or shall continue to act for the period of the appointment. Now, all we are saying is the Constitution already provides a solution. If the court is overwhelmed, it can call upon the judges that have retired. From that day until this, we have never effected a provision of our Constitution.
And that's how we want to know how you, Ellison Karuhanga,
the first thing we have to do is to effect this provision of the Constitution.
How?
Under Section 27, I believe it is Section 27 of the Judicial Service Act, the Judicial Service Commission makes regulations. It's a self-regulating body. Our job as representatives of the bar is to walk into the commission and make a case for the evoking of Article 142.2, to tell the commissioners that the framers of the Constitution gave property to the Uganda Law Society. There is what you call constitutional property. There is a check given to us that we must bank and that it must not bounce. Right? My time is up? Yep. I didn't get you. Say my time is up, or you said
yes,
that?
I did.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Frank Andiho, by way of illustrating what an action man you are, you made a reference to your fight against a person you referred to as a monster in judicial robes.
Yes.
You fell short of mentioning the name because you are afraid of issues to do with defamation and cases of that nature. I must put it to you this way, candidate Frank Andoho, that the only time I have had the misfortune of being faced with a defamation case, one of the 10 people right on that panel was my lawyer. And the case did not go beyond even the first mention. So good was the lawyer that the person that attempted to sue me for defamation withdrew it. I am giving you that as an advice for you to use whichever way you want, but it would be nice. It would be nice for you to give full illustration, to give confidence that what you're talking about is not a fairy tale, but it actually happened with names and faces to it. Alex Resida may defend you.
I can actually defend myself.
Proceed.
On the premise that truth is a defense. However, Mr. Kasiate, wanted to seek your leave in my professional call of duty. In my 4-5 years of training, I was told that no one should ever mislead court in my presence. I want to take exception to the submission made by my learned friend, Mr. Ellison Karuhanga, that the property in the good in Article 142 does not in the remotest involve Judicial Service Commission. The property in the good in Article 142 involves first and foremost the initiator, the Chief Justice. It is built on a rock called the vacancy. It is at that stage that when the Chief Justice initiates and informs the President that there is a vacancy at the bench, then the President will revert that question to Judicial Service Commission. At no point in time would Judicial Service Commission ever on its own volition invoke the functionality of Article 142 without the action or inaction of the Chief Justice and the President. Since I will not be the President and I will not be the Chief Justice, Article 142 is far away from within my reach. I beg to submit. Now, point number two. Point number two.
Simply put, you've said Edison has lied. But let's proceed.
And in my full glare. Point number two, because you gave me two minutes. The action points that I envisage, if anybody has had an interaction with anything to do with public service, if you want to read the mindset of public service, look at its budget framework paper. It's an institution's budget framework paper that informs you of the goalpost into which that sector, agency, department, ministry is shooting. When you look at the budget framework paper of Judicial Service Commission for the last 3 financial years, you will regret its mindset.
20 seconds.
Motor vehicles, 20%. Salaries, 73%. Education and outreach, 3%. I will change that. I beg to submit.
Thank you, candidate Frank Kanduho. We now turn to the Harvard-trained lawyer, Mariam Mbabali.
Can I?
You indeed took us through a journey of your experience.
Simon, sorry to interrupt you. Will we get an opportunity to respond to Frank? Because he has said that I lied, and I think that it is important that I set the record straight.
And that opportunity shall be given to you.
I used my time.
Edison. Mariam, you did walk us through your vast experience as a legal practitioner and also the experience you've had before a bench that's not properly constituted and the like. And you were very eloquent in explaining the situation at hand that is a problem for why you want to go to the Judicial Service Commission. I will allow you another 2 minutes to just break it down to the finer details of how you intend to change what you consider to be the bad that is a Judicial Service Commission.
Thank you, Moderator Simon. What I intend to improve.
Order, please. We need to listen to candidate Mariam. She's going to tell us how she's going to stop the appointment of spouses onto the bench by bench members.
Yes.
And children.
And concubines. Yes, you got that very well. So I think this system needs an overhaul. We have to go back to the whys. Some of the decision making at the time is archaic. So we need to up the qualifications of the people at the bench. We need to up the criteria so that it's more attractive to the right people to serve. Secondly, we need to go back to the why. Why is our engagement as ULS important? Why is it, who are we serving? The public. We need to put the public trust in the judiciary at the top. We need to go back for people to look at lawyers at the bench with the utmost respect. How do you do it? We address the backlogs. We are speaking of technology. Yes, we have made steps with ECMES, but it's still a drop in the ocean. Yes. We still have our judges still listening to us writing. Recently, even after you've submitted and filed on the ECMES, still the judge will tell you, can you go back and serve? Can you walk back to the court and serve the co-counsel? Even when you actually filed on ECMES. So what purpose is the little technology we are doing serving? Secondly, can we have ample training to the court users? Can we all know what we are doing? We still struggle to use the little technology that has been put out there. Thirdly,
all that is the situation as you describe it, but
yes.
How will you?
How? So I intend to call on to so many stakeholders that have developed a lot of applications that we can tap in to solve this problem.
20 seconds.
Yes, technology is still out there. Why aren't we using it? What is our problem? Is it budget? Can we use some of our expertise, those who know how to lobby, and convince the stakeholders that how can actually we can invest in why they are not investing in the technology? And last but not least, Simon, allow me to also say it is very important that inclusion of the female is still a key thing. The representative at the Judicial Service Commission, even if the last 8 has had females, we need to represent the people of the public who are both male and female. Some of the members think, oh, this voting of private parts is a problem. No, it's not private parts. Yes, some of our colleagues, that's how they refer to this discussion. But I'm here to tell you that how a female candidate like me perceives the challenges of a female judge on the bench, the female lawyer pursuing this position, is different from how a male will internalize. Inclusion and transparency and usage of technology is still needed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Candidate Mariam Mbabali. I'll turn to you, Ladit Milton Ochen. The devil is in the details, as they say. But particularly today, the detail is in the how. How will you, as Milton, a member of the Judicial Service Commission with 8 others, bring about the change to the problems you raise now?
Thank you very much, Simon. I didn't actually raise so many issues or problems, but I'll use the ones my colleagues have raised. But by and large, we're all talking about the same things. We have issues of which require, merit-based appointments, like Paul said, transparency and accountability. But I'll go straight. There are so many laws, first of all, that we must be able to appreciate. Okay? One, we need to apply these laws. Simon, there's a good list of laws that apply to the function of the Judicial Service Commission and the judiciary as a whole. Okay, we have the Judiciary Service Commission, constitutional and administrative functions that we have to spell out. So it is very important that we maximize the use of these laws. Secondly, Simon, any government institution, no one should ever lie to you members that one individual is going to go and turn and change the way things are done single-handedly. You need teamwork. You need to work with the people that are on that commission. It is practically impossible. Simon, you did mention, you read articles 146 and the people who constitute the composition of the commission. The theme, the mantra for Judicial Service Commission is the people's bridge to justice. Now, some of the constitutional functions require advising the president. How are you going to advise the president when you're not working with the Attorney General? How are you going to do that to cause change in the judiciary without working with the representative of the judiciary and the Judicial Service Commission? This will solve a lot of problems. In some cases, we are going to require the application of legislative amendment to these laws. I cited Section 16, which makes the conversation of Judicial Service Commission a secret. We need to reverse that. Just recently, there was Judicial Service Commission regulations which have been passed, establishing a committee, a search committee. All these things have been criticized to undermine the constitutional safeguards. We need to have a conversation. So how do I do this? Is by being a team player, using my skills as somebody who will build bridges, somebody who will negotiate, someone who will work in a constructively engagement manner. Simon, lastly, everything is based on interest. As a representative of Uganda Law Society on Judicial Service Commission, we have our interests as members of the bar. We should be able to negotiate with the other stakeholders, interest versus interest, and find compromise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Candidate Milton Ocheng. I'll turn to Dr. Patricia Atim and still pose the same question. You did make mention of what you consider to be challenges bedeviling the Judicial Service Commission and the general dispensation of justice in this country. But you fell short of giving us the finer details of the how you will do it. And that's your distinguishing card between you and these other 9 folks with whom you sit.
Yes, and I think your question also was specifically on ensuring that qualified persons are appointed to the judiciary in order to enhance the delivery of justice to the public. Yes, allow me pick up from where maybe Council Milton left. One of the values, or the values of the Judicial Service Commission, as stated in their documents, is excellence, accountability, independence, integrity, and teamwork. And I will also emphasize the point of teamwork, and also to suggest or to commit that in the event that I am one of those candidates that end up in the Judicial Service Commission, I would request that the members begin to listen to the public outcry about the competence of the bench. The judiciary is crying. They do not understand the promotion criteria. So that means that one of the outputs we must have with the chairperson and all the other members of the Judicial Service Commission is to clarify the promotion criteria for persons who are already in the judiciary, because many of them are also wailing in tears for the failure to understand promotion criteria within the system. Now, when you come to other new members joining and the recruitment processes, things are being done in the judiciary by the Judicial Service Commission as we speak. The shortlist is out, the advert is out, the latest advert is the Chief Justice, the vacancy for the Chief Justice of the country. It's out. Now, I want to go to the Commission to emphasize to them that, look here, teammates, we've got to open up these processes so that there is public participation, so that the public is part and parcel of the process. If we take an example of Kenya, my friend from Kenya told me what they do. For all judges from the High Court to the Supreme Court, there is public appearance, public interviews, public submission of any complaints they have against the shortlisted candidates. Then for the judges the judicial officers in the lower bench, after their names have been shortlisted, because usually there are many, and if we see from the report, for instance, the commission recruited 98 of them. So 98 of them, subjecting them to a public scrutiny may be difficult, but we shall shortlist them and call on members of the public to submit their complaints, if any, to the conduct, professionalism of that particular person who has been shortlisted for purposes of being employed as a judicial officer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Patricia. Tim, like they say in English, what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yes.
I hope that you know you are vying for this position publicly, and that you are being watched and listened to publicly on all social media platforms. Exactly. And that using the same latitude, you may at this point in time receive comments from those that may know you more than we know you, or more than you have presented yourself. Yes. I'm sure you're also ready that should there be any skeletons in your closet that may come out of this public engagement, you're willing to take them.
Yes.
That said, I want to make a public announcement. One of our colleagues, and no less than the chairperson of the Electoral Committee of the Uganda Law Society, has lost their two phones, an iPhone X and an iPhone 15. It was not my intention to make this announcement while everyone is listening, for fear of the reputation of the Uganda Law Society being at stake, that this is a place where you walk in with 5 fingers, shake a few hands, and who knows, you may leave with maybe 1 or 2 fingers missing. So if you have the phone of Mr. Mwase Moses, or both of his phones, please be kind enough to present them to him or myself. I will deliver them. Candidate Paul Muchibi, you decried the poor judicial appointments. From where I sit in the court of public opinion, we have this famous phrase that we refer to as cadre judges. For the most time, we say the judges we see are cadre judges. You can interpret it the best way you know how. What you seem to indicate is that you will get rid of the appointment of what we perceive as cadre judges. The question is, how?
The answer is very simple. 1, consider merit. What involves merit? First of all, you have standards you need for a position of a High Court judge. Can we look into the applicants? Where are you coming from and what have you delivered? For instance, if you're from the bar, can we look at your record of performance and representation in terms of litigation, among other issues? Secondly, can we test...
Are you trying to say that's not done? in the current way of things?
How do we know? Because we are never know aware of the process. We just get lists out. So I cannot attest that it is done or it is not what? Done, unless we go to the second point, transparency. That you need to be transparent in the whole process. I'm telling you, if we had televised interviews like it is done in South Africa, it is done in Kenya, some applicants will never turn up. That one I must assure you. If we say we come here like we've come, people will just abandon the position. But because they know it's the thing to go there, eat some gonja, take some chai, interview is over. The next thing, you on the list. Now, the concern is how? So once we are transparent and we see Paul Muchibi is being interviewed, and this is how he's responding to the issues that concern the position he's contesting for, we can judge that we got the best or we got the what? The worst. Without that, you can't tell the products you are getting. Secondly, what I must also make emphasis on, technology is here and can help us get rid of certain things. We are at the level of, we have digitized our processes, we have also digitalized, we are moving to automation. For instance, if we send applications for whatever position of a judicial officer, the system should easily tell us all the applicants who applied. Publish that what? List. Then, if you are selecting, tell us the criterion you have used, why you've kicked out my friend Nalunga seated there, and you have taken another what? Person. Nalunga should know why she was not what? Shortlisted. But she'll be there grumbling for years, not knowing why somebody was taken and she was not what? Taken. So we need to know the criterion you use to select. Then at the level of interview, we should also judge by performance. How have you performed that
20
what?
seconds.
The interview. So the solution is there. What we want to get rid of is why isn't the solution being what? Applied. And that is what we are fighting for. Such that we get ring fencing positions, we need to get away with it. Thank you.
Candidate Paul Muchibi, I believe that what you are raising as issues in the Judicial Service Commission are possibly the same or worse in places like the Public Service Commission. And we hope that this debate helps to inform those who may want representation in the Public Service Commission to also clamor for the need to have people sent in there through a process such as this, where they debate and present themselves. I'll turn to candidate Fiona Nabasa Wall, the one with the slogan, vote well, vote Wall. But why should we vote well and vote Wall without knowing the finer details of how you are going to make it happen at the Judicial Service Commission? No doubt you have served as president of this distinguished society. No doubt you have practiced in private practice. You have been in academia. You've been all over. But just break it down in very convincing terms how you are going to effect the change you are promising.
Thank you, Simon. I would like to ask, I don't know at what point you will allow me, but serious accusations have been made about my track record. I would like to have a chance to respond.
Like the chance I will give to Mr. Karuhanga Ellison, I will allow you that opportunity to respond.
Thank you. It is known that when I was running for the president of the Uganda Law Society, we had a backlog of over 2,000 lawyers that were not enrolled. Some of these lawyers had been from common law jurisdictions and had failed to get through because of we'd not come up with guidelines in the Law Council. Some of them, it was just as opaque to get enrolled as it is right now to become a judge. On record, with my council, we worked with the different stakeholders and ensured that in the 2 years that we served, and my treasurer is over there, she was very good in numbers, Madam Shan Musanase, we could recognize her. And we were able to enroll 1,700 advocates while I was president. We killed that backlog. We did it through stakeholder management, through engagement, through relentlessness. And that is what I bring to the backlog in the judiciary. I'm on record, again, with my counsel, having written these things we're talking about. I was already writing about them in 2020 and 2021. We met the Judicial Service Commission. We were lambasted. The Attorney General came to also deal with this matter. It is on record in this building, in the archives. I have not stopped talking about the issues that need to be resolved. The issue of backlog is an issue, as I've said, of performance management. My how. One of the things we need to do, I said we're going to have a listening and teachable Judicial Service Commission. We need to benchmark. Next door in Kenya, they have a guideline that shows every civilian how judges are appointed. They have a long list that they serve to the public. They have public hearings. Benchmarks are all over. We need a learning and listening Judicial Service Commission. We need to promote accountability. Right now, the average judge that is recruited, my former president, President Chinove, told me he got almost, okay, I'm sorry to report, but found cases in the thousands when a judge is recruited. As we speak,
Order,
judges take
Order
out,
in the room.
There's almost 2 months of court vacation in a judge's year. There is annual leave, there is sick leave, there is thousands of judicial conferences that take them out of their jurisdiction. Then there is this animal called sessions that takes judges out of their... What I want to do is to ensure that, first of all, this mediation that they've introduced should be done by lawyers so that the retired judges who are still on payroll can come and actually deal with sessions, so we can keep judges where they are supposed to be. We can give them targets and see them achieve. The last thing I want to say is to strengthen ethics, the ethical question here. I am on record, not only through the Fidelis Leadership Institute, but for the last 20 years of my life, I have been singing that we need ethical leaders, and ethics is the only thing we need to add to Africa to have us achieve what we need.
Time up.
Everybody here is talking about ethics. So vote Wall.
Candidate Fiona Wall, Senior Counsel. Candidate Shamim Amolo, in your presentation, you were such a rabble-rouser. You spared no rod, and I'm sure there's no spoiled child on that table. I was afraid you were about to put your finger across to the moderator, who, as you may know, will also have a right of response. So please stand warned. That said, it is important, indeed, as you put your case across, to have demonstrated very eloquently that you are part of the building blocks for why we are here, and that you have shown a track record of action towards making a better Judicial Service Commission. The only problem then is you did not have the position you are vying for, and that's why you want to get in there. But that said, you're not going to be alone in there, and you may find a chairman, deputy chairperson, and other people on the commission that may not necessarily take your submissions for actionable points. What will you do when you find such a blockade that your very well thought out ideas are not considered for action? Will you flash their lives to us in the public by going into the press? Will you demonstrate? Tell us, what will you do?
Actually,
let's get closer to the microphone.
Let me start with the words of Sekana in the judgment which was ruled against Uganda Law Society. He said the society cannot work alone. The society needs a secretary and all these other stakeholders. So, even then, what the rules has provided for, the commissioners are the final people. Whether the subcommittees which are created are there, they are going to recruit their whatever, the commissioners are the final people. So we have to work with them. Whoever is there, we have to work with them, whether it is Attorney General, whether it is what, because this is a legal business. For us lawyers, leave alone other issues. It is a legal business. Whether someone loses the case or what, it has to move. So when we reach there, we have to work with each other in principle. So there's no question that this won't be done because the commission, after all, we are the final people. We give the recommendation. If something is not, if something is not done well, we recommend go and redo it. Go and vet this person well before it is taken to the president. So I think that answers your question.
Thank you very much. Candidate Shamim Amolo. Now, folks, I have 10 minutes to spare. And in those 10 minutes, I am going to be discretionary in the way I distribute them to all of you, but I will only be guided by your interest to talk. Candidate Ellison Karuhanga did request to make some substantiation on some allegations that were leveled against his name. So did candidate Fiona Wall. I allow them 1 minute each to respond to those allegations. And if there is any one of them...
I also need to make a comment about matters I've said about
that
me.
Makes it the 3rd minute. Candidate Professor Christopher Mbazira as well. So let's get going. Elson?
Thank you very much. I'll go straight to it. My learned friend and brother Frank Kanduho says that I'm lying about Article 142.2, that it only gives power to the President and to the Chief Justice. Certainly, with great respect, I would advise my brother to read the article again. The article says... I'm going to do that. The article says...
That's not what I said, Mr. Moderator.
The article says...
I said Judicial Service Commission comes at the tail end. I should be reproduced in good stead.
Can I get my minute back?
Yes, it's a debate.
Can I get my minute back?
Yes, it's a debate.
Frank is heckling. Can I get my minute back?
Frank, let's go back to our initial
rules. You either tell him what I said.
We agreed, yes, Frank, that we are going to use basic decorum.
Yes.
So allow him to speak.
Yes. He says the Judicial Service Commission comes at the tail end, and that he is not standing to be the President or the Chief Justice. The Constitution says where. That is how it starts. Where. Then there is a vacancy. That is A. B. People are unable to perform their functions. Or C. The Chief Justice advises that the state of the business of the court so requires, the President may, acting on the advice of the Judicial Service Commission. If the advice is not a power, then what is it? But let me use 30 seconds to say this. Let me use 30 seconds to say this. What my brother has said shows you the challenge we are facing and why you need me. My brother. Order. My brother is unable to stand up for the judicial property of the bar. I am. My brother thinks that there is nothing we can do about invoking a provision of the Constitution that gives power to an agency where we are going to go. That about this backlog, he has no solution, at least none he has given here. He has no opinion, at least none he has given here. Let me tell you, we need to defeat people like Frank Kanduho.
Thank you very much.
To vote for me, Olimujawa, Musaja Singanzi.
I'll turn to candidates. Candidate, order please. I don't know. Candidate Fiona Wall, would you want to respond now after this, or should I allow others as you compose yourself? So, Professor Christopher Mbazira, I am going to take exactly 2 questions from the audience, and I'm going to request that my assistant, Brownie, helps me choose those people. Only 2.
Thank you so much, Simon, for giving me this opportunity. I just wanted to clear something that I thought I didn't. The impression that arises from the fact that I've not practiced law. I've done high impact litigation. And I have 2 cases that I want to refer to here. I was co-counsel in the case of Robin Kasozi. That case resulted into the amendment of the National Council for Disability Act in 2013. I conceptualized and guided the presentation of the first ever amicus application in the presidential petition And that case resulted into the promulgation of the Judicature Amicus Curiae rules. And I was one of the members of the committee that was appointed by the Chief Justice to draft those rules. So I do high impact litigation. Then the rest of the practitioners can then pick up and use the laws that emerge from that. Thank you.
Tremendous. Thank you very much, candidate Christopher Mbazira. If my Latin is anything to go by, amicus curiae means the listening post, right? Amicus curiae means what?
Friend of the court.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Counsel Alex Resida, your 1 minute, please.
Thank you so much. I thought I would chew an information gap because it was stated that I was acting for my gain. Now, this is the information gap and the confusion that comes when you speak without information. I took up a petition by Uganda Law Society against Attorney General, aimed at the president of this country to compel him to appoint a tribunal to try Justice Chaudhry. I did that pro bono. Justice Chaudhry applied to be a co-respondent, and so I was acting directly against him. Subsequently, later, because of the delay in acting, in a different case, where I was counsel for the first defendant in an ordinary civil suit, that case went to Justice Chaudhry. He refused to recuse himself. I refused to appear before him. He passed judgment in favor of the plaintiffs, gave an award, but ordered that I personally pay, together with my partner James Nangwala, the state attorney who was representing Attorney General in that case, Mr. Wanyama, 36 billion, about $10 million. And that if we fail to pay, Uganda Law Society pays. Those two cases are different. So I did not act for Uganda Law Society against Chaudhry for gain. The gain I was working for is the cause of justice. And that's why I have a unique experience on a slip made by Judicial Service Commission. Because had the Judicial Service Commission made its due diligence and found out who he was, that appointment would never have happened.
Thank you very much.
I thought that information is necessary on what it is. Whenever something does not pass the smell test, count on me. That's why I took up that petition.
Thank you, candidate Alex Resida. We now are taking one of the two questions from the audience before candidate Fiona Wall comes to wrap it up. And the rules are simple. You will introduce yourself by way of name, and then you can ask your very brief question or make your brief comment.
Thank you very much, Simon. I applaud all the candidates for very profound submissions. I'm Dr. Joyce Nalunga Bidi-Mumaso, the president of the Female Lawyers Network. I happen to be one of, the persons that have ever applied to Judicial Service Commission twice. And to date, I don't actually know why I didn't go through. But that notwithstanding, one, I've not had candidates addressing corruption, which is one of the aspects that are very critical. The elephant in the room, there's an allegation of corruption in Jesse. I don't know whether you're fearing to mention anything on it. I'm excited to hear. Secondly,
Madam President, we are allowing one question. Thank you. We are allowing one
of
question.
The elements of acting.
Madam President, let's respect the rules of the debate.
Simon,
one
can
question.
I ask?
No.
The one? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next question from the audience. One question, please. Like I said earlier on, the same problems you notice in the Judicial Service Commission can be said about the Public Service Commission, corruption and everything wrong, including the failure by very competent people like myself to go through it and come out with an award against evidently very weak candidates. Question, please. I can lend you my other microphone, please. Take a seat. Ask your question.
Well, thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Miyaka Alfred. I had my personal question, but again, I got a question from one young lawyer, which I want to pose to abandon my personal question. It is online. and his concern is like, as we consider the future of our judiciary, he says we need candidates who prioritize accountability and transparency, and all of them spoke to that. And he comments that holding judicial officers accountable should never be a punishable act. Yet, the US president, they voted, and the same members who voted the US president, whose votes you now seek, is currently living in exile because of demanding accountability from the judiciary. There is an appeal and state of execution which has concerning his personal liberty, which has been pending for 8 months as now. And this sets a troubling precedent that whoever will be speaking truth to power, which they may be doing, will end up, will do it at a personal cost, just like the cost the President Uls is facing now. So as candidates who are going to be the officially the judicial ombudsman, where do they stand on this critical issue? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that long but eloquently put question. Now I'll ask candidate Fiona Wall to make her submission, and then I will make a ruling on what follows even after these questions have been asked.
Thank you very much. So an accusation has been made that I did nothing, that a president appointed. I think it is public record that when we were elected into office on the 12th of September 12th March 2016, I was secretary and Shamim was northern representative. One of the things that happened was that the Judicial Service Commission had already been established and appointed, and we were missing 2 representatives. And everybody who had been appointed at that point was a man. And the Judicial Service Commission wrote to us and asked for 2 female representatives and gave us a criteria. They needed a decision in 2 days. My council members are not here, but this is public record. You can ask any of them. We immediately acted and asked members. We asked not only the past presidents, but we asked members around, and they recommended President Ruth Sebatindira because she had just served. They recommended Madame Nora because she was part of the Electoral Commission. She had served for a long time, and they both more than met the criteria. When these 2 people were recommended by council,
Order.
We had just gone through an election. We ensured that the next EGM, the closest EGM, would be, these people would be presented for ratification because we needed it to be properly done. This is on record. Now, when we sent these people, my sister Shamim,
Order, please.
It is very unfortunate because I have a lot of respect for my colleagues, but I have to say this because I am tired of hearing lies. My sister Shamim wanted this position for herself, and she stated that she was representing the northern region. I objected because the principles of corporate governance do not allow a council member to recommend themselves. We need opportunities for other people. Now, when we objected, our council member went to the north and did a press conference and stated that the president of the Law Society was stealing money. Again, this is on record. So selfish reasons, you will be the judge of those. When I was president, Ellison just read, I don't know who it was who read the fact that the appointing authority is the president. When we were elected into office, and again my council members, they've run away I think for me referring to them, but my council members are there. We were informed that the Judicial Service Commission members had already even been presented to the president. There was a general renewal of the term of the whole Judicial Service Commission. We wrote an objection to the Judicial Service Commission. They wrote back to us stating that they are not the appointing authority. At that point, Parliament was actually vetting the candidates.
Candidate Fiona Wall, while we appreciate the storytelling
I'm sorry,
element.
I'm done with the storytelling. What I'm stating here is that it is on record that I don't do nothing. I actually act. It is on record that I work with stakeholders. It is on record that I stand for corporate governance.
Thank you very much. That
And
cannot
let
be
time
overstated.
vindicate me.
Right of reply.
Distinguished candidates, members of the distinguished Uganda Law Society, the public that's listening to us, I am happy to inform you. I am please.
There's a new issue.
Please allow me guide this debate the best way I know how. We are exactly 4 minutes past the hour. We shall have a second round of this debate on Monday, the 13th day of October 2025. Same place, same time, through the same medium. And interestingly so, same host. What's for sure is that the 2 questions that came in from the audience will now form your homework of how you are going to address the elephant in the room in the Judicial Service Commission, which is corruption, and call it by name, and also how you are going to ensure that when you tell truth to power, you do not end up living in fear of your own life and abdicating your role and presence in this country, like has happened to the president of the Uganda Law Society. I want to wish all of us that have listened through this debate a wonderful evening. Congratulate Uganda on its 63rd independence celebration, which is slated for tomorrow, and wish the candidates the best of luck. God bless, for God and my country.